This video is titled Homicide Rates by Country. Just want to make a video about this to make a point in relation to the martial arts. So, you type in on Google, type in homicide rates by country, type into, click the pictures tab, and then you'll come up with something like this. It shows you, from worst to least, homicides per 100,000 people. Top of the list is Mexico, 18.9. Turkey's number 2 at 4.35. And then Estonia is at 4.08. United States of America is 3.82. Chile's 3.14. Hungary 2.67. It keeps going down and down and down. Canada is at 1.44. France is at 1.2. United Kingdom is 9.96. Republic of Korea 0.84. Poland 0.78. Germany 0.70. Spain 0.63. Japan is on the second to last at 0.29. And Luxembourg, I don't know where that is, but it's 0.19. So basically, the lower the number means the more peaceful the country is. China's not even on the list because I believe because they have so many people, probably like 1.5 billion people. They're not even on the list because there's probably not enough homicides to even make the list. So basically, comparing United States of America to Japan, for example, the United States is 3, 6, 9, probably like 12 more times more violent. Okay, so just want to make this chart, bring up this chart to make a point that the Chinese martial arts is designed for peace, for spiritual growth, for dissolution of ego, to not be violent. These Eastern arts, even the Japanese martial arts, they're on the second to the bottom of the list, which is basically, it's a peaceful country. China, it's a peaceful country. I didn't see Thailand on there either, but what I'm saying is that these Eastern arts are created from the East, and they are the ones that are supposed to teach the Americans to be more peaceful. So obviously, Americans is one of the most violent countries out there. According to this chart, it's the fourth place, of the most homicides. And there's a lot for them to learn, for Americans to learn about these Eastern arts and how, learning how to calm down. I think that honestly, a lot of people in America might not be fit for the martial arts at all, because it might bring in, if they're already too aggressive to begin with, and then you're teaching them these techniques of combat, it just increases the chances of them to become even more aggressive than they already are. So they might be better off just focusing on the meditation and that's it, or just focusing on maybe some yoga. But the martial arts, more than likely they're gonna abuse it, and they're not going to express it, for the benefit of themselves or the people around them. And that's what I keep talking about, is that these Eastern martial arts need to be taught by the originator, the people of that country. The Chinese martial arts need to be taught by the Chinese people, because they're the ones who are supposed to be teaching it the right way, because it's representing their country, their people. And if their country is known to be more peaceful, then in their expression of the martial arts, it should lead you towards peace. But if Americans are known to be violent, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're trying to express their violent tendency within the Chinese martial arts, and then they call it the Chinese martial arts, they're essentially corrupting the Chinese martial arts and making it appear to be more violent than it is. Or not just violent, but competitive and egoistic, narcissistic. So it's like a violent American going to China and killing a bunch of people to up the homicide rates when that person doesn't even belong in China to begin with, and he shouldn't even be allowed to enter into the country to do such a thing. So these arts, the Japanese martial arts, this chart proves that their expression is going to be a lot more peaceful. Their country is clearly going to be governed and run differently than America. Same thing with China. Their government is clearly different, and it's going to be run differently. Their country's going to be run differently than how America is. So the Chinese martial arts and the Japanese martial arts is going to be a completely different expression than what we find in America, which is, which is basically, in America, is just a lot of violent expression as far as football is concerned, the cage fighting, the UFC is concerned, and all the homicides that are going on. So you see, the aggressiveness and violence in America, they're trying to bring it to China in order to profit as well. It's just like them making Hollywood movies and then them exporting it to China to make money off of the Chinese people. So UFC's created in America, and then they're gonna make as much money as they can in America, and then they're gonna try to bring it into China to make money over there. So what's happening is the Western influence, so the American influence, is trying to influence the Chinese people to be just as violent as themselves. But it could go the other direction, where the Chinese people could try to influence the American people about their culture. So if the Chinese are trying to promote peace in the martial arts, then they could try to influence the Americans to head towards peace within the martial arts expression. So that's where I'm getting at. These separations in countries, I did not create these separations in these divisions, but this is what is out there right now. This information is not what I created by myself. This is the information that they've drawn through their studies and research, and it's very clear, that Americans, they love the guns. We have the most guns than any other country. We love our freedom of speech. We love, we love our football. We love our boxing. We love our action movies, our violent action movies. We love people out there, they love fighting. So the Chinese martial arts is not like that. The Chinese martial arts is supposed to use the combative to head towards spirituality, head towards meditation. And I think it's very difficult for a lot of Americans to understand that. And in order to really, better yourself within this art, you're going to have to learn from the Chinese masters of these arts. The Sifus. And another thing is, it's just the ego. It's not just about expression of violence, but just ego. Even if an American is not a violent person, he could still be a very egoistic person, a very competitive person, a very dominating person. So the Chinese martial arts is supposed to teach to control that ego, to learn how to diminish that ego, how to be less competitive, and how to feel that you're not above other people and other people are inferior to you. It's also like training to become psychologically healthy and balanced. And simply, Americans have a lot to learn from the East. No matter if it's from India with the yoga expression and the meditation, or from China with the Chinese martial arts, or from Japan with the Zen and the Japanese martial arts. There's a lot to learn from the East, but Americans have to refrain from corrupting the arts of the East and putting that ego into there, putting that violence into there, and then trying to claim that that's what it is when it's not. And that's the problem right now. And I think that as an American, if we are to grow and better ourselves, we have to see the facts of what they are and admit to it, that hey, we have a lot of homicides in this country. We are one of the most violent countries in this world. We have mass shootings all the time. We have a problem with sexual repression, and there's sexual harassment going on everywhere. There's problems with pedophiles. I mean, there's a lot of problems in America that we need to find ways to fix and find solutions for. And why is it that China is so, the country has over 1 billion people, but then they have less homicides and it's more peaceful there? Why is it that Japan is so, why is their homicide rate so low? You know, there's a lot of things to learn from the East that we need to acknowledge, rather than thinking that we know it all, that nobody could teach us anything. You know, and that's the thing, when you humble yourself and you learn to surrender to a Chinese martial arts master, then he could teach you that. But if you just learn what you feel like you want to learn and then discount him as a master, and you don't want to be under his authority, and you feel that you know everything and that you're better, then you're not growing. And not only are you not growing, but you're stealing a part of that art, part of that culture, trying to claim it as your own, and you're corrupting it, you're misrepresenting it, and that's wrong. You know, and that's why I feel that, you know, we have to be conscious of what we're doing. And if we want to represent peace in the martial arts, okay, that's fine. But who's your authority? You know, do you have a Chinese martial arts master as your authority? As your authority? If not, then become your own authority and just claim your own, and try to represent something different within the West or within America, and guide your martial art expression by these Eastern principles, and try to live up to it to the best of your ability.